Hi! After you learn the basics of project methodology, you will be a complete software tester and able to port your skills between projects and organizations. The first methodology to learn is Waterfall. The Waterfall methodology has been successfully used on projects for decades, and it's still being used on many projects throughout the world. Like the waterfall behind me, this method works in sequential steps, where each stage of a project needs to be completed before the next one starts. It could be expensive and time-consuming to change user requirements once you move on to the next step, especially when testing starts, as this happens in the latter stages of a project. So the waterfall methodology is best suited for projects with well-defined requirements and where changes are unlikely. Let's build a diagram to help you understand how the waterfall methodology works. As with any project, there is a start point and an end point, and these are clearly defined in Waterfall. We can assume that the project initiation document and budget are both approved. The project will be run in a series of steps, starting with requirements gathering and analysis. This is where the project requirements are gathered from business users and analyzed with project designers. The analysis will allow the project to refine the scope and give a clearly defined set of user requirements. This is essential for a waterfall project, as mistakes here will be costly if rectified later in the project. The next step is system design. With the requirements in mind, the design documents can now be created, including high and low-level design and technical specifications. The objective of these design documents is to give clarity on how the system will be implemented. This leads us nicely into the next step, which is the implementation phase. This is when the source code is written based on the design and technical specifications. Developers will build the system in small units or modules before being integrated. You may have noticed that this is beginning to look like the left side of the V model you learned about in the previous lesson. You are not wrong. The next step in the waterfall methodology reflects the other side of the V model, and this is when you, as testers, are fully involved. Integration and testing is the step that will occupy you the most. You will recognize the test phases that are run during this part of the project. Don't forget that the test phases could include several types of testing, including performance, security, and regression tests. The use of automation, if any, would have been agreed upon as part of the project initiation document, as it requires some budget allocation. When the testing is completed and the test exit report is approved at a go, no-go meeting, the application is deployed to the production environment. A prerequisite for deployment is that any hardware or configuration changes are completed. On a deployment night, it's common practice to have all hands on deck. This can ensure it goes smoothly. You would also be called on to run some basic smoke tests and prove the usability. The end-user training may also be a prerequisite and would, ideally, be very close to the deployment date. The final phase is maintenance, where the system is monitored and any issues or bugs discovered are fixed. Maintenance also includes making updates and improvements to the system as needed. Let's look at the picture as a whole. We will now take a musical pause for 10 seconds in case you want to take a screenshot. Okay, let's look at some of the pros and cons of the waterfall approach. There are some huge advantages of using waterfall. It's very structured and easy to understand and manage. Everyone knows their role and can quickly come up to speed. The documentation is strong. This will enable you to write your test cases against stable design documents. This is particularly useful in the defect management process, where you can refer back to solid documentation. The main disadvantage of waterfall is usually self-inflicted by project members or business users. If the user requirements or designs are not adequately reviewed, it could lead to a lot of rework, potentially costing money and impacting the end date. The testing is backloaded on waterfall, meaning the pre-work has to be thorough, and it's unlikely you will get any features delivered early. Does this mean waterfall is a bad thing? Definitely not. You just have to be well organized. Then it works surprisingly well. In the next lesson, we will look at how a waterfall project team is structured. The project method is very effective, but only when you get a team that makes it work. Come and join me to learn how the team operates. I will see you there. Remember, All lessons are free, so please like this video and subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing and allows us to keep creating free content for you.